The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the Panther. That dude fizz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin flying round the field. Starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot the depot, yes, these other sports podcasts live as a froze corpse. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season if people starting five. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. If the sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
Each and every week we got what y'all need in this fucking bizarre ride weather that we're going through right now. It's sunny, it's nice out, but the fucking wind is going. Jamal got his neighbor and getting his essay on, cutting the grass. But we back with the newest episode of the Start at 5. It's me, the mayor, that GJ named H5. Your mom's favorite fat guy. TJ's on the way, but nonetheless, we got the good brother.
What's good, man? What's good, everybody? Finally getting some decent weather. Enjoying the backyard, and like you said, as soon as I came out here to do something, everybody came out with the lawnmowers, but what can you do, man?
Yeah, word. Shout outs to Chris Walker in the building. Chris Millen, the player 99 in the building. He said, because we're going to get right into it, it must be springtime in Staten Island, huh? KD down 3-0 and TJ's little cousin Devin Booker is hurt. It's fucked up. Fucked up. But yeah, man, like I said, let's get right into. No need to freaking hold on to anything. Oh, actually, no. Man. How are you doing? How is
I'm
everything
alright.
with the show?
I'm good, man. I'm all right, man. Enjoying having the weekend off, not working the side gigs. You know, next week I go back to filming again. So, but
Okay.
I'm just enjoying. I'm gonna finish the 6-pack of Guinness today, probably before 3:00, and enjoy my Sunday. What's going on your way? How you feeling?
We all right. Shout outs to, I gotta say, shout out to hashtag Blackout Podcast, Jared and Jay. I was watching them about an hour or so before coming on here, and yeah, these two brothers, they're coming to our show eventually.
Cool.
They're trying to figure out the timing for them because one is in Houston, the other one's in White People's Africa, aka Utah. Word to Ari Spears, who created that saying. But he says, Chris said, "Let me find out. Jamal lives next door to Mr. Wilson."
Well,
But speaking of Mr. Wilson, looking through his screen door right now, like your phone is either you crack your camera or you put like a film over it.
I don't know. I was at a barbecue outside yesterday, so might be a
fingertips
little
was greasy.
Yeah.
Got you. You good?
What's up, y'all?
You got ribs on his phone screen.
No, it was all my sister-in-law's birthday yesterday, so my brother catered Mexican, and just to say the flauters were banging yesterday. Just leave it at that.
Nice.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Said you got the guacamole vision lens. No, the glaucoma vision. My bad. You said Mexican. I read too fast and said guacamole, but it said glaucoma.
Yelling too
Well,
much.
well, as I smoke the hookah that I'm sure I shouldn't be smoking, I defeated. Well, we defeated COVID in the house this week.
Yay!
Fucking just ruined. We was on vacation. We was on vacation, and
Wait a
one
minute, you
child.
got COVID on vacation?
We was on vacation. One child brought. We didn't go away anywhere. That's the fucked up thing. We didn't even get to go away. One child brought it home from school. Which their last day was Thursday. Wasn't negative. Wasn't negative. Bang. A day after, negative. Positive. So they was like, fuck. Maybe I got it because she was hugging me and blah blah blah, and giving me hugs and stuff. And my body started to feel like, okay, nigga, sit down, bang, like I took like the misery wood 2x4s to the legs, and my shits got heavy, and
Ain't no
then I
pain like that, bro.
nah, it wasn't yeah, nah, it wasn't that painful. I'm just talking about how it sat me down, but then, and then I had it, and then Danielle got it, and then Zaria got it, and my wife skated from us for a whole week and then tested positive on Friday. And so now we're the four of us are on the better end of it. Like two of the four tested negative already. Um, like my wife was telling me that you know, this is some shit that you can still keep testing positive for a while after and be
Yeah.
free of all symptoms. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I got to retest again, but we good. We I kept normal routine, and like I was telling Jamal pre-show, to be honest with you, say let's say we got hit with the hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4. Yep. Ho! But that is, I got the piece of wood right here. But 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 like I was telling Jamal though, like this was some shit that like I've actually felt before. Like how I got sick, I felt this before. And I felt this for years of getting sick. So I know everybody reacts differently to everything. Shit happens to everybody differently, but glad we all on the better end of it. It still sucks that people went down the way they did from it in the beginning and even post vaccination. So, but we good over here. We good over here. I guess I get to go back to work tomorrow. Whatever. But yeah, man, the shit fucked up a whole week's vacation. It is what it is. It is what it is. But what it is these NBA playoffs, man. And
Mm.
we're just gonna jump right into the shit that we didn't expect. We're gonna go straight into the shit we didn't call to happen, but the bitch is happening anyway. As I pull up the screens, the tabs for the NBA playoffs information. Start right out the gate. The Celtics beat up on the Nets again yesterday, 109-103 to take a 3-0 series lead. Allegedly, nobody has ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit. Who wants to go first? We fucked this one up.
Yeah, man. I don't care who comes back. Ben Simmons, his mama, his daddy, Jason Kidd, Vince Carter. They ain't coming back from this 3-0 deficit to win anything in this series, bro. This shit is over. And I'm not mad about it. I mean, we called it
Oh
wrong, but I'm
hell
not
no.
mad about it.
Oh hell no, I ain't mad about it. It
Let them know how
just
you feel, Jay.
no, it's the Nets. So Nets tragedy is comedy for us because we're Knicks fans, so we've been living a tragedy for decades. So um, this did we called it, everybody called us wrong because it defies common sense. You know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, it turns out you can't miss half a season and then come back and think you have the chemistry to win.
It
So
also determines that you need an actual NBA coach to
no, I
help
don't
you
need a
when shit
coach.
gets tight.
You
You
don't
know
need
what
a
I'm saying?
coach.
These dudes think they don't need a coach. Now they looking for direction and they can't got nowhere to turn. Like Steve Nash is looking at him like, yo, you told me how to what play to run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. This
So
Well,
That's
hey
bad on
man,
both ends.
turns out you got to play defense. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know, man. The Nets is just. I don't want to bang on their misery, but it is kind of funny at the same
You got
time.
two Hall of Fame players, and they can't get it together though.
Well,
Like KD was missing like mid range jump shots, like he was at the local Y yesterday. Like he was rimming out backboard. He wasn't hitting anything. He hasn't been hitting anything, and that's the problem.
Once
And they
again,
can't rebound to save their
you,
life.
you know what
it,
else though, man? Honestly, shout out to the Celtics for just playing some good ass basketball.
There you go.
You know, as much as it's we want to look at the Nets as to why they're not winning. The Celtics have been playing some good ass basketball for a minute now, so give them their credit. And maybe they're just better, and that's the end of the story. You still got to play to win the games.
Ben showed up dressed like Richard Simmons. Ed said there's 0 point in playing Simmons. Start fresh next season.
I
Kyrie
agree.
saying the team not gelling is his fault. And that interview he gave yesterday was the definition of gaslighting. Motherfucker, the team is get gelled because of you. Point guard. I mean, he says Kyrie put his vax issue in front of the team gelling, and now he's saying of the Celtics been gelling since December. Duh, motherfucker. And then Chris says Kyrie has to go. I'm not going all the way that far with the Kyrie's gotta go.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
a
the
little.
gelling, the
Yeah,
gelling issues and situations, the gelling issues and situations is yeah, it's a thing. The gelling situation is a thing. It's Kyrie felt and did what he wanted to do in the beginning, which was, he felt he had to protect his health in some sort of a way. So fucking be it. That shit is over now. That shit is over now. But in my opinion, all of this shit really is proof that it don't take two. Even though they did say it takes two to make a thing go right, and it could take just two to make this thing go out of sight. And this shit is fucking out of sightly too. 3-0. I know we didn't expect this shit at all. I did it, but like
I
y'all
know.
said though, you know what? It's fucking Boston and it's the Nets. Like we didn't want to see Boston succeed, but fuck you Nets fans, some of y'all. It's just kind of where it stands. It's like fuck some of y'all Nets fans who really, really tried to shame us Knicks. We knew we sucked. We knew we sucked. And y'all just
Yo,
shit in
but
the
for
bed
them
right now.
to possibly get swept though, like nobody saw that, Bree. Nobody
First round
saw
too.
them
That
possibly getting swept.
yeah.
This bad.
That's an epic
This is
failure,
bad.
but
This is bad on. Yeah,
you know,
Nash is out of here if they get swept. I don't know what they're gonna do for a coach,
but
but
I don't know why they ever thought Steve Nash was the smart pick in the first place.
it was
I
Kevin
really,
Durant. He's
really don't.
Kevin Durant's good friend. KD gets you jobs. You know KD, you got a job, bro. That's what it boils down to.
I didn't know
It's who you
KD
know, not what you
had
know.
that power.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
mhm.
Steve
Word
Nash is
up.
definitely faking it.
You're gonna see a lot of lack of show etiquette and me blowing my nose on camera today. So I apologize, y'all. But another one that we kind of blew our nose at and thought was gonna be better than what it is the Warriors up 3-0 on the Nuggets.
Jokic needs help, man. They just don't have enough, man. And shout out to the Warriors, man. They having fun playing basketball again.
Yeah, you could see it.
Yeah, they having
Yo,
fun.
the ex
Jordan Poole.
hmm Who said
yeah,
he got his
I was just
he
about to say
cut the
that.
line
Damn,
and
Jordan
got his
Poole
head
is the
busted?
man of the hour.
Yeah, man.
Chris said about Steve Nash. He said he cut the line and got his head bust open to the white meat. He said Nash is white privilege personified. Wow. He took it all the way there.
Damn.
Took it all the way there. And I ain't mad at that. But yeah, man, back to these Warriors and Nuggets. Yeah, Jokic needs a world of help
Hmm.
for real. Takes more than just one. It takes more than the who potentially is the MVP. Did they even give the MVP selections yet? I know they gave everything else. Well, for the
They
most
gave
part,
the
everything else.
finalists, but they didn't pick him yet.
Okay.
It's him, Embiid, and I think Giannis are the three finalists for MVP. But they haven't selected it. I haven't seen anything where they selected him as
Okay.
who the winner
I
is
think
yet.
I think they usually reveal that around the finals time, right?
No, it should be coming now. I mean, they did Defensive Player of the Year, and I think they did Six Man of the Year already. I think Tyler Hero won Six Man. You know, Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, so it should be coming any day now. I don't know why they dragging it out. The
Yeah,
votes are in, I'm
yeah, it
sure.
should be in. It should be in. It says Jokic is
But yeah,
odds on favorite, 70% record against losing teams, 38% record against winning teams this year. It's not just that though. I mean, it's what he's done during win or loss. Like, I mean, the opponents doesn't really matter. Like, if a comment like that is looking at this like strength of schedule in college, you know, it's like it's pros is you play who's in front of you, just like in college. You know, it's
but but
I
like you
think
said, it's what he's done with what he's had, with the lack of what he's had. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
right,
potentially missing one of his best players in Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. has been out since God knows how long. So like
right, right.
the man was literally carrying the team on his shoulders by himself.
He seems to have been out on and off like freaking as long as Ben Simmons was down this whole year, maybe longer.
Right, right.
You know,
So I mean,
but it is what it is. I mean, this year MVP wise should be a very tight, like tightly voted race, very tightly voted race. Because to be honest with you, like Jokic came out late and pulled up with, and then again, his stats that just seemed very unreal after a while, and Joel Embiid was a model of consistency for the whole year, like stayed healthy consistency, which usually never happens with Joel.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And then Giannis is Giannis. Giannis was low key. Giannis was low key. Low key doing his thing, but low key, but high key with the stats. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, if I know we kind of this is how that the Warriors and Nuggets series is going. We kind of diverged into MVP talk instead. But if we actually calculated MVP by what it stood for, the most valuable player, Jokic is
Yeah.
definitely, and the way they're getting beat now is like this showed his value over the wins. Like without him, they wouldn't even been in position to play anybody in the playoffs.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's where the difference is. You
they'd
could
be a
say,
lottery team.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Hands down.
yeah. Like if Embiid wasn't there, this could be an eighth seed Sixers team or old school Sixers team. So even Embiid kind of proves that he is most valuable to his team. You know, because I mean, Chris, you could speak to Harden better than us, and I guess you can once again say the Sixers won this trade because they made it, or they're about to make it one more step further than the Nets. But without Embiid, that Sixers team wouldn't be shit. So the conversation for him is there also. But I don't know. We strayed way away from the actual series that I think we all picked wrong, except for that vibrator. But yeah, I mean Jamal, what else you got on this series before we move on?
This series, I'm just impressed with how good the Warriors look. They look scary, bro. So, um, but outside of that, do I think the Nuggets underperformed? I don't know. Maybe a little bit, but maybe the Warriors are just that good, man. You know.
Yeah. I think the Warriors are just that damn good right now.
Yeah.
But next up, since we just talked about the Sixers Raptors, the Raptors finally pulled one out
Hmm.
the other day to be down 3-1, just to stave off a sweep. This one, I think we called five, right?
I think so. Yeah. Five.
Yeah.
Did TJ call that a sweep though? Somebody call it a sweep?
I think
No. No, I
no,
didn't see it as a sweep.
we'd have to go back and check the tapes, but I think we either no, I think maybe I called no, I think I gave him five.
Yeah.
I think I gave
I
five,
might have
and
said 6,
yeah, y'all might have
but
said six, but this ain't going six.
No.
no.
This ain't going six.
And not with the amount of injuries Toronto's got now. Like Barnes is
Yeah.
out. Van Vliet suffered a hyper hip extension or something like that. Somebody else is down for them also. They just don't have enough guys to compete at this point.
Yeah, and to be honest too, they like the Raptors. They just didn't look like they had it together. They just didn't look like that. The way they played, they just didn't look like they were there. Yeah, they won this last game, but the way they've been playing for the first three games of the series, the Raptors look like you just shoot us out of our misery, gun to the head.
Yeah. You know
We'll
what
get
though?
we'll
A
get to
few
that.
bounces. This could have been 2-2. This series
Mm.
could have been 2-2. You know.
True.
But
Yeah, my bad, y'all. I'm fighting with such a fucking stuffy nose now. But
that's all right.
he said the niggas is going home. And then he questioned, and this is a question for y'all, because I've been able to tune into very, very small handful of games. Well, Chris is asking a question for the guys. How inconsistent is the officiating this playoffs?
It
The
has been
officiating has been like it has
specific
been
to
every
me.
year during the playoffs.
Yeah. That Sixers Raptors series has been horribly officiated, honestly. So you got a point there. I didn't see many of the West Coast games outside of. I haven't watched any of the Phoenix series actually. So
Yeah, I mean they've been consistently inconsistent for every playoff since we've watched the playoffs. If they're not getting a call for your team, they've blown a few foul calls, blatant foul calls, and missed some out of bounds stuff. But I mean, if you're the home team on your floor, you got to expect to get those calls. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it goes,
Which
and
leads me
and that's the
into,
way it goes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that it's usually. Listen, the officials don't decide to score the game, right? Like the object is to not put yourself in a position to let the officials dictate how the game is going to go. So if you let it get close, or if it's down to a few points and a foul call could determine whether you win or lose the game.
And we lost TJ, but he's right back. But yeah, no,
In the
I
Dallas, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No. I thought we lost you. I thought we lost you. You cut out
No,
for a
because
few
in the
minutes.
Dallas Jazz game last night, the guy could have put the team up by 2, and it was Dallas was on the free throw line. The guy missed both free throws. I mean that,
Yeah.
and Utah came back and won the game. So I mean, get the call, you still got to make the free throws.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, which leads us into the Grizzlies Timberwolves series. With inconsistency, I wouldn't call this one an inconsistency, but a mistake in my opinion, which Pat Beverly was dumb for. He said
Pat Beverly,
T,
bro.
TJ's phone climaxed, but Pat Beverly had a foul and got a technical for no damn reason yesterday, which was just like, all right, you know what? It might not have been a technical if it wasn't him.
That's what I was gonna say. Exactly what I was gonna say.
It might not have been a technical if it wasn't Pat Beverly, especially when you got the home fans wearing "I love Pat Bev" shirts. But nonetheless, the Timberwolves tie this up and make this a 2-2 series, 119, 118. This is exactly why I couldn't pick this one, because
Mm.
this has been just a great series overall, man. They held John Morant to like no points for almost the first half of the game. It's crazy yesterday.
This was a tough series.
Yeah,
This is
that's been a
very evenly
very
matched
yeah.
young teams, and it's tough to pick, man.
Mm-hmm. But
Very, very tough to pick.
this one's going the way I expected it to go. Next up, I'm going all over the place. TJ mentioned them Jazz Mavs. Jazz win by one. Also, just another close game by 1 point. Another close series tied 2-2. Jazz Mavs. What's up with this one, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, Doncic came back, dropped 30. You know what I'm saying? Got his team back in it to keep the game close. The Jazz pulled it out to tie the series up 2-2. Donovan Mitchell was doing his thing. I mean, this is another, like you said, evenly matched team squad. It shouldn't be, but they're
Mm-mm.
playing it like it is. Gobert, I don't think I mean, his effect on the game hasn't really been felt on the defensive presence. Like they're going at him. It's not like he's like scaring anybody in the paint. So, I mean, it's going down to who has the ball last in this series. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't this is one of those series I haven't been able to tune into yet, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is with them. I forgot who I picked on that one. Did I pick White People's Africa? Or no, I think I picked the Jazz. I don't think I picked Dallas.
I think we all picked the Jazz. The Jazz are kind of underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much longer Donovan Mitchell is going to want to stay in White People Africa. So the way they keep underperforming like that, which is good news for us if he wants to come back home. But the scary thing about this series is Brunson, and his price is not going to be the same as we may have thought before this playoff series. Because
Today's price ain't yesterday's price.
no sir, because he was high on Leon Rose's target list this offseason. So I don't know about now.
Very high.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But as we breeze through some of these other series,
I mean, he did drop 41 in game 2.
Okay. We're gonna get it together, y'all, because I think we just we all a step off. Like y'all got the COVID still, and I don't. But we gonna breeze through to a couple other series that we thought were gonna be breezes, like Hawks Heat. Hawks decided to win another 1 point fucking game. 111-110, their last game on Friday, and the Hawks. Shout out to TJ and the Hawks in the background.
Shout out to the Hawks. That's right.
Fucking Trae Young flying over.
Right on
Trae-
cue.
Right,
Right on
Trae
cue.
Young was flying over the Knick fan's head just now. But the Miami, the Hawks tried to make this a series, and they're still losing 2-1 to Miami. Is this? I believe this is the one. I think I called this. No, I called the next one a sweep. This one I think I might have called Heat by 5. Are we still getting the 5, Jamal?
I don't think so, man. At least 6. Trae Young is doing what he does in the postseason, man. He just the Hawks are fighting. They're well coached, man. They play a different type of basketball in the playoffs, man. They're making it tough. They're not letting the Heat just run through them like that. So, Butler had a chance to win that last game, but I wouldn't let him take that last shot. But anyways, I think this is going 6. I still don't think the Hawks have enough to beat the Heat, but they got enough to make it interesting and to push the Heat to the brink. I mean, what else can we say about Trae Young? He just I'm not gonna say he's unguardable, but he like who's that? Is that Chris that said that? Yeah, he's a killer. Trae's a killer, man. It's a different type of basketball in the playoffs that he plays.
Yeah. Well, Chris also said before we got off the last one, Gobert is Sean Bradley with a French accent.
That's cold blooded. That's
Oh, come
cold blooded.
on, bro.
Then he
Come
said,
on, man.
Yo, that is cold blooded.
he said the
Yo, you
Utah Jazz.
cannot say that, bro.
He
You
said the Utah.
cannot say.
He said the Utah Jazz are the Dreamville of the NBA. Results not as expected. Then he said
Wow.
Jimmy Butler equals Jeffrey Butler. Only works at home. Holy shit.
Ooh, ooh.
Word to the Fresh Prince.
Just keep your Sunday sucker free.
Wow.
So he moved from his auntie and with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. Holy shit.
Wow.
Damn it, man. But but yeah, man, what was he just that Heat Hawk? As Chris mentioned, TJ's cousin Devin Booker is out, but the Phoenix Suns are still up 2-1 on the Pelicans. I think we didn't expect the Pelicans to get a game here either.
Yo, this is supposed to be a dog walk, B. It's plain and simple. It was supposed to be a complete wash. Pelicans, I mean, the Phoenix Suns have been the upper echelon, upper tier playing top tier basketball the whole entire season. And for them to let this happen, I don't know, man. I mean, Devin Booker's hamstring injury aside, they still got way more firepower and moxie than the Pelicans do. I don't even know how this has not been a dog walk and been just washed the whole entire series, man. But playoff basketball is funny. This is why it's the playoffs, and you got to bring the shit every night, or you run into situations like this and have a question in yourself and the people around you, like, yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
True indeed, true indeed. But the next dog walking that Jamal, I know you definitely called for, we all kind of called for, just happened to been a lap around the park so far because the Milwaukee Bucks are only up 2-1 to the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls snuck one out the other day, a couple days ago. And yeah, but actually before you get in on that, Jamal,
Mhm.
let's answer Chris's question. He said, "Can we talk about how the Pelicans have real depth after trades? Also, Suns snuck by against 3 injured teammates last year. Not to mention, were able to stay staffed those seasons. What
Facts
y'all
though.
got? Yeah,
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. The
yeah.
Pelicans, they their depth is there, and they playing outside themselves, man. That's what what makes NBA playoff basketball so special. Is some teams just rise up, and they rise up outside of the scouting report on them, and the Pelicans are doing that. Um, Phoenix, like I said earlier, I haven't watched any of the Suns Pelicans games, but what he said about Phoenix last year is facts. So is it surprising that they're struggling and only up 2-1? Not really. I don't have the faith in Phoenix that other folks have, just because of Chris Paul's playoff history, and even though he's healthy now, but
But didn't they kind of back it up this year by being the number one seed throughout the whole year and beating
yeah,
everybody?
they played dope during the season, man. But it's the playoffs, bro.
Exactly. I hear that. I definitely
You
hear
know,
that. But I mean, it's not like they don't have depth either. I mean, like, they got Mikal Bridges, Campaign, like all these dudes, Andre Ayton. They got a deep squad. It's not like they
they
don't
do.
have shooters and rebounders on that. I mean, Channing Crowder. They
And they're
got
well
they got
coached,
people.
but you know, hmm,
But like you said, they're playing outside themselves. Shout out to CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. Those are two legit threat scorers for that
that was a
team.
good trade bringing in CJ McCollum, bro.
Yeah,
That was a
CJ
that
McCollum
was a
turned that
yeah.
season around for them.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Good
That was
look.
a huge pickup for them. And they got him for a bag of chips on top of that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Which I was pissed off about, but that's another story.
Yeah.
We're not getting into that. But Yeah, CJ McCollum definitely turned the tides for that team around, and he's playing well with Brandon Ingram. I mean, I didn't see that as being a dynamic duo, but it definitely is now. If Zion loses 20 pounds and decides to come back and play for them next year, that'll be a dangerous team.
Yes, sir. Ingram is balling.
They said eight, and there's Eric Dampier with a midi.
Wow.
So outside of CB3, everyone else health is filler. Everyone else healthy is filler.
Nah, Mikal Bridges is a problem. He got damn near defensive player of the year. Like he's one of their best players on the defensive end. You can't call that filler. You know what I'm saying? Their bench is strong. Their
That
bench
they
is
are.
strong. But as CP3 goes, that team goes. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie about that. As CP3 goes, that team goes. And
Now,
that's where
real,
it's at.
quick aside on him is what has stopped him from being in legit contention for MVP talk? Because I mean, if you want to again, if we're bringing up the definition of most valuable on a team, him going over there literally changed the entire landscape of the Phoenix Suns, the entire landscape of the Phoenix Suns, and made them tremendously better. Literally, the year and the moment he got there. So
And I didn't
what?
even see that. I didn't see that.
I didn't either. I didn't either because a lot of people. Shout out to my peoples on the ITL podcast. A couple of them call Chris Paul the bum of his peers because he's the one of the few who doesn't have a ring still and allegedly brings teams down. But this ain't the
Can't say
case.
that.
This ain't the case. So Jamal, maybe you can answer. Why isn't Chris Paul in the serious MVP talks?
Maybe it's the stigma of his playoff collapses, bro. I think his history is working against him. He legitimately should be in the talk. I mean, Chris Paul, as far as pure point guards go, is there better right now though in the league? You know, but it's the playoff collapses and kind of was just said the bum of his peers because you don't have the chip. I think that's working against him. I think the perception is working against him when it
It,
shouldn't. But what's that Phoenix team without him though?
It's nothing really.
Yeah.
Like I just said, just him getting there immediately changed the
Hmm.
fortunes of that team.
well, well, let's say this: is it his history of playoff collapses, or was it the coach he was playing for history of playoff collapses? Because Doc Rivers was vital for most of those playoff collapses that he was involved in
But
with
what?
all those years with the Clippers.
Yeah,
True,
well,
but I mean, he's also gets hurt a lot in the playoffs, and then the same thing happened when he went to Houston.
Right.
So I mean, his history has traveled with him.
I
right.
mean, also you go back to the coach. I mean, D'Antoni was the coach back then too. Like these
I
guys are
hope the
not. No-
Sixers get D'Antoni. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead,
But
y'all. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have thrown that out.
I guess I could point the finger more at injury. I would say,
yes.
but I it's that whole coaching thing you mentioned again, TJ. Like I'm not putting all the blame on the coaches because the players still got to put the ball in the hole. The players still got to put the ball in the hole, and them Clippers teams collapsed on their own.
Yeah,
A lot of them Clippers teams collapsed on their own. Again, it's like I like to describe with football. No coach calls a play that's not supposed to work. It's the other
You haven't
team.
seen my New York Giants, then, bro. I can't tell you that.
But again, if I'm not talking to it like well the after effect because I was about to get to the after effect. No coach calls a play. Shout outs to the Maserati. Damn, we just got all the outdoor noises, man. We just missing some farts and burps. But but anyway, yo, no coach calls a play that's not supposed to work. But it's your job to stop said play.
yeah,
Plain and simple.
Execution.
And so
Execution.
in the NBA, same thing. The coach is gonna coaches are going to draw up some plays. And one of them that we just seen work was with the Warriors. They showed how Steve Kerr said you're gonna do this like this, that, and that. No, I think it was the Sixers or somebody. No, I forgot what game it was. But you seen them call the play in the huddle. They went out and performed the exact said play and worked. The other team still got to stop you. The coaches in the NBA are more or less putting more besides calling a lot of inbound plays, they're doing more of the putting players on the court in scenario to succeed together. You have to execute.
I agree.
You have to execute. The coach ends up becoming the fall guy because that's the easiest target. Let's remember in pro sports, the coaches get paid less than the athletes do. So who's always going to be fodder for somebody not performing? It's always going to be the coach. That's why I don't always put blame on them as much. In the NBA, college football, different story. You are the moneymaker. You are paid to put these slaves into play. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. I again side tangent for I can't always blame a coach. There's certain times where the coaches are totally at fault. But
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And get back to the point where Chris Paul's playoff collapses. I think, but like you said, most of that has to do with it being injured at the wrong time, and that contributed to the team's
yeah,
downfall. But
and other teammates not stepping the fuck up.
that's it.
Like
That's it.
why the fuck are we a team? Why are we a team? If you can't pull your weight for when I'm down.
You're
But
only
that
strong as your weakest link.
yeah, and that's also the sign of most valuable to teams also.
Yeah,
That's the true sign.
like you said, he should have been considered for MVP this year. The way he was playing throughout the whole year.
I think he was like in like the first like quarter of the year. And then Joel Embiid started playing out of his mind.
Hmm.
And then by the third quarter of the season, everybody was like, "Oh shit!" But the reigning MVP is doing this over there. Oh
Well,
shit! We need to pay attention.
if the Sixers lose the next round, will they blame his thumb injury on him being injured for them not winning? You know what I'm saying?
Chris can answer that in the comments, as he said.
Are they gonna blame Doc
Brian
Rivers?
Flores. Brian Flores has entered the chat to disagree. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Because the Miami Dolphins organization said, listen here, nigga. We want you to lose. And we want you to pick Tua, even though we know you didn't want him. But I digress. Did I leave out any series or did we get over all of them? I think in 40 something minutes. I think we did get through all of them. Did we? Am I missing something?
Yeah, we talked about the Bulls and Bucks. That should have been a dog walk too, but
Yeah,
uh,
we kind of breezed over that one. We didn't
yeah,
even get to it because I think that will get capped off in 5. That was the one that I called a sweep.
Isn't
I
old boy
definitely
hurt
called
though?
that.
Middleton.
Yeah, yeah, that'll affect them the next rounds. I still think they should handle the Bulls.
I agree. I
I
definitely
agree.
agree.
Yeah. It'll be
Bulls.
interesting to see how this Heat Hawks series turns out, bro. For real.
Yeah, I think the Hawks got one more win in them, and that's it though, because the Heat been beating them up pretty much the entire series. Been a very physical game with them.
Yeah, but you know what? Enough of that. Let's finally have some fucking fun. I think that's we kind of fell flat. We kind of talked a little flat through the NBA playoff shit because we're still going along. We're still in the first rounds and everything. So has it gotten interesting? Some of these series are hella interesting. Like I said, Grizzlies, Timberwolves. That one I just picked exciting basketball for that one because both of these two young ass teams are just they're leaving it all out there. We got a couple other series tied up, man. So we still have a pretty good first round to go. But I think by the time we come back next week, the first round will be done. and then
Yeah.
we can follow along and move on with that. Um, you know what? Before we get to the main topic at hand, though, Jamal, I'm gonna go find this article that you shared with us. But yeah, if you remember any of it, man, start talking about this shit.
Yeah. So there's this brother. I think his name is Lucas Hayes, and he's Curtis Hayes. Excuse me. Curtis Hayes is a mayor of a town in Livingston, Tennessee. Livingston is about halfway between Nashville and Knoxville, and he is the mayor of this town. He is an NAACP award recipient for some of his works. Um, but he made news this week because he signed into proclamation in his town delegating April Confederate History Month. Confederate History Month. This black man, and I have no idea why he did that. Surrounding him there is a group called the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Now, I don't I don't know whose father fought in the Civil War that's still alive for these groups to be calling themselves the Sons of Confederate Veterans, but to me that's a treasonous group. But this guy signed this into law, and here he is posing with them.
From that pic, he looked like he was strong armed into it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with this guy. So the town he's in it's about 5,000 people. His family has been there for generations. Okay, so his grandmother was a slave, and a great grandmother was a slave in that town. Something that they got something erected for her, memorializing her contribution to whatever. But how they my this nocturnal forest animal. Well, I'm not going to say exactly what that is. Decided to sign this into
Night
law.
creature. Oh no, Jamal, because before you keep going,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say his name because we haven't done this in a while. But this brother here is the newest member to the long-standing, established in 2015, Ku-Tang Clan.
Man, the peoples around him failed him. Because where is your family in this town that's letting you do this and saying this is okay? And they're commemorating this Confederate History Month. So let me get this straight. It's okay to talk about Confederate history, but we can't talk about American history. That's out of bounds.
That's
Right?
critical race thinking right there.
Yeah. That's out of bounds, but they can talk about this shit.
Hey,
And
yeah. Go ahead.
the thing
I'm
is,
sorry.
like Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, them states still have this. They still celebrate. They still have some sort of Confederate Memorial Day where they close down state offices for this. They celebrating treason.
And they
But
lost. They lost.
Thank you, TJ.
We celebrating losers now?
bro. So, and what compelled this fool to do this? I have no idea.
Man,
But
listen.
it's shameful. It's the effects of colonialism, man.
Man, listen. I think this just uncovered where all the losing Super Bowl team shirts go. It does. I think it does. Like I think that in the early '90s, this town probably thought the Buffalo Bills won all four Super Bowls they went to. You know what I'm saying? They definitely believe Donald Trump won the last election.
Mhm.
Uh,
Facts.
Mhm.
and they believe in and fuck it. If you want to call this as northern quote unquote East Coast bias in this conversation, but it is. Why does that bird sound like a dolphin?
Because he's scared.
Oh shit. But yeah, I mean this dude, he earned in shining colors and miraculous fashion his entry to the Ku-Tang Clan because like TJ just said, and it's like I always like to say when it comes to the Confederacy, you motherfuckers lost. What are you upholding? What are you upholding?
The L.
That's
Holding the
it.
L. Like this.
right? Like they got somebody in the town who re-recorded the Queen song, "We Are the Losers."
Oh,
Instead, like I mean, the only time that flag ever looked cool was on the General Lee in Dukes of Hazard.
The only time.
The only time. The
The
only
only time.
time. Other than that, like now, obviously, because of the woke culture and crowd that we live in, we've learned a ton more about what went on behind the Confederate flag within the past decade or so. A lot of these Confederate generals got their statues torn down for perfect reasoning. Slave owners
hmm
continue, TJ. I think you said it before, and I'll let you have it. You are, or Jamal, one of y'all said it. My apologies for forgetting exactly who, but I think we've all said it. You are willing to uphold this bullshit. You're willing to uphold the loss. You're willing to uphold what was a culture of slavery behind that flag. You're willing to uphold treason, but you are not willing for young white kids to learn that their ancestors were fucked up.
yeah,
And that's literally I kind of what critical race theory, which again, I mean, you could take its theory.
It
It's
applies. It
it,
applies to this
right.
right here.
It's theory. Like so, it's not. I don't think theory means truth, but it's theory. And a
I
lot
tell
of what
you,
it's teaching is supposed to do it's telling Americans the wrongs that was hidden from us in our textbooks all through our schooling.
yeah.
Plain and simple. Like no, like Christopher Columbus did yada 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 until we learned Christopher Columbus never touched down here. Brought smallpox, brought disease, rape, this, that, and the third. We wouldn't have learned that without proper education later in life. You know what I'm saying? Upholding slavery for what? Why?
look,
Why is this country so hell bent on upholding this shit? I just don't get it.
Confederate and anything behind it equals racism. Period. Confederate flag, Confederate Day, Confederate history. It equals racism.
It's
Plain
trash.
and
It's
simple.
treason. It's
Plain and
racism. It's
simple.
treason. It's
That's it.
trash.
It's
Yeah,
trash. It's trash. These dudes
absolute
are in the
garbage.
history books for losing on a monumental scale. They didn't lose just by a few people. No, they lost in droves. You know what I'm saying? They what are we celebrating? There's nothing to celebrate. This is not a celebratory time. For who? What are you holding on to? This is the white man's last gasp at straws to hold on to something. That's what I get it as.
I
Because
I've
they
been
see the
saying
brown wave coming and they can't do nothing about it. In like 2045, the whole country will be considered brown at this point. And this is it. This is their last gasp at holding on to something that's been put buried, dead and buried for years now.
I was saying this during Trump's reign as president. I said this is white supremacy's last stand. I
hmm
said it clear as day. And
So they're gonna show
why
out as much as they can. Yep.
why the continuation of holding this shit up? I just don't get it. But like, let's get to some of the comments. Ed mentions people who celebrate the Confederacy are the biggest sore losers on the planet. You think?
Without a
Absolutely.
doubt.
He said even the Nazis took that L and do their dirt in the shadows. Nope, not the Confederacy. They can't own that L. And yes, absolutely, I'm comparing the Confederacy to the Nazi Party in their penance for atrocities. I
Yeah.
yeah, it's I well, I know we ain't supposed to use this word anymore, but retards,
Yes. 100%.
Yes.
retards,
Yes. Yes.
And they always
retards.
try and defend that shit by saying, no, the Confederacy and the Civil War wasn't about slavery. It was more about states' rights. And nigga, states' rights to do what?
Right. State rights to
Yeah.
do what? Yeah,
Yeah.
to keep the foot on the neck. That's what it was
To
for.
own people.
That's
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Curtis said he should be ashamed of himself. What kind of bamboozlement
This
or
Jamal,
indoctrination
this
did
is the
this dude
perfect
go through?
example of living in a bubble. The town is what,
Yeah.
5,000 people? That's a
Mhm.
nice, safe bubble right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that was a sundown town at one point. Maybe
Oh,
still is at
absolutely.
this point. You know what I'm saying? Even
Except for
with a black
Curtis.
mayor.
Curtis is good.
I think you know what? I think he did this because he finally bought his family some freedom.
In
He got the paperwork.
2022?
He got the paperwork.
What was it? Wasn't it just 2018 or something? I think Mississippi or something like that was like the last state to finally abolish slavery or something like that. Like you said, like these shits are still going on
Well, it was
across the
last year. They
country,
just passed a law against lynching. Last year.
but they
For
can't.
lynching?
But
Jesus Christ.
but to make the future better, you can't teach these kids from young that America and Americans were assholes. Because this literally, it's America is founded on assholes. America is founded on war. America is founded on crime. America,
Violence.
violence, capitalism, shit like that, and you know
You didn't
all
get
that.
this far without stepping on people's necks and hurting feelings, that's for sure.
hmm And it goes even deeper than that. But I'm gonna respect.
We don't
I'm
even get into the nepotism. So,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Man, listen. This conversation goes deeper, goes deeper to just what America's problems are. It really does. But we're gonna digress, and we're gonna welcome this guy into the Kuntain clan. He's
he
been the
probably lets
meanest.
the soap run down his legs, Dan. He's one of those dudes. He don't wash his legs. He probably don't have a washcloth.
This is this. Say this is the South. If he even washes at all. No, we're not making fun of the whole South, people. We're not making fun of the whole South, people. We're just making fun of sundown towns. Negro, you better do what we want you to do. Dance how we want you to dance type of Southerners.
Oh, he definitely wasn't getting reelected if he didn't vote this in, probably. I'm sure of that.
Yo, man, listen again, and I'm going to show the image again. Let me screen share this image again. But like you said, because you was the one who said it, this time I actually remember who said what. You was the one who said it. This picture looks like he might have been strong armed.
Definitely.
All you have to do also too, which I should mean this, and all you have to do is just slap the Brazzers logo on the bottom left or right corner of this picture and put it under their gay section. I'm telling you, the way this picture looks, it looks like
Suspect.
that black picture with the little petite girl and fucking 6 mandingos over her shoulder. Like y'all know what's about to go down. This one really looks like, you know what I'm saying? This one really looks like that. And the man with the big beard and the sling, he's hiding the gun in that machine.
So you know what to do, Curtis.
Nagger.
We went over this.
That's right. We went over this.
Go on now.
Take that picture.
This picture literally belongs in the gay Brazzers section of Brazzers or Pornhub. One of the
This is wild. This is wild.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Enough wasting our breath on losers, though. Now we get to have fun. Y'all got y'all list ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who wants to go first? And we're going from 5 to 1, people. I gotta pull my list out. Pause. I gotta pull my list out. It's not that long. But
Pause again.
Yeah, that's what I should have paused. But whoever wants to go first, we'll go first, and I'll pull up the picture for each person.
I'll go first. I mean,
Now I gotta say, we shared each other's lists. I know my list is the more diverse and kind of out there. It's a little
mhm.
different. Your list was obviously like to me the most easiest to get. And I get it for the names that you put on the list.
I just tried
I
to keep it current.
understand it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I understood it later because they're not really villainous people.
No, in
It's
that term.
people just hated on them.
Well, I mean, the vitriol for my top five, my fifth player. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, this dude, people because they compare him to the goat, of all of basketball. They get their panties in a bunch. You know, and then when they compare him to the greatest Laker of all time, that really riles up the fan base. And this is the first dude I think that people followed outside of his airness as what team he went to instead of following the teams that they grew up knowing and love. I think he started that whole movement of I'm a fan of the player, not of the team. Yes, sir. LeBron Raymond James. Villain to most.
And we say his name on this show
Yes.
because
We say his name
fuck
on the
y'all
show.
feelings. Fuck y'all feelings.
So
We say his name.
we're gonna talk about Goat James.
Shout out to the homie.
Yes. But yeah, I mean the emotional fortitude, the testicular emotional fortitude that is applied to this man is is crazy. I mean, they literally started burning his jersey when he left Cleveland. That was where it all started. He was taking his talents to South Beach, and the hate just emanated, just permeated, just grew like he was building the dark side by himself. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude is the emperor of the dark side. You know, why did you leave? Why did you take your talent somewhere else? Because Cleveland sucks and nobody wants to live there. That's why. He went to South Beach. He went to Miami. Nobody's going to Cleveland for vacation, nigga. Nobody. It's in the middle of nowhere. Fuck out of
I
here.
didn't, I didn't want to talk about Cleveland like that.
It's Cleveland. All right. But yeah, the hate for this man is monumental in pretty much every stadium he plays outside of South Beach. They do give him love in Miami, but they wishy washy anyway. We're not going to talk about them. Um, but when he came to the Lakers, and now this last debacle with him putting his team together, and they're not even making the playoffs. Whew. Did you see his last comment? He said for the rest of his career, he's never missing the playoffs ever again. He
Yeah,
just stated
but you know
that
what?
a couple of days ago.
But for 80% of his career, he's never missed the playoffs.
Dan, it's like 95% of his career. He
The
only missed the
hate
playoffs
is
three
ridiculous.
times. He only
Right.
missed the playoffs 3 times in 19
Right.
years. It's like 95%.
Right.
On top of it, the Lakers have been trash. They were trash. God bless his dead for the last 6 years of Kobe's career. They were
Yes.
trash. LeBron comes in, he gets you another chip and keeps you
Immediately.
relevant. Yes,
Immediately.
he got you a chip. He's
That's
gotten
not
a
good
chip
enough.
everywhere he's been. He's gotten a chip.
But Kobe got them 5. That's the argument. And
That's
that's
fine.
how
I don't care
stupid
about
the
Lakers
argument is.
fans per se, but in general, the way LeBron is villainized, it makes no sense to me. Especially what
Jamal,
this
it don't
brother
count because
does
it was in the bubble. It don't count because it was in the bubble, Jamal.
off the court. What he does for people off the court, out his own pocket, is crazy.
Dude, what he did for the other players in the league to allow them to
Yes,
know,
it's true.
hey, guess what? The ownership don't control where you go unless it's a trade, man.
That's
He
true.
he
Because
he ushered in player empowerment to be like, yo, like I'm not gonna stand here and take this shit. You know what I'm saying?
if he didn't do what he did, PZ Head Durant wouldn't have a chip right now.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
So, but no, that it's just it's disturbing how he's villainized, and I don't understand the vitriol and the hate for this man.
Right. And
You
see,
know,
TJ, this is leading off. This is why I asked. Because it's like, yeah, he's a villain to people, but it's like when you're logical thinking people like us, it's like, but why? Where? How? What the fuck are y'all watching?
I don't think they understand what he does, honestly, off the court. They know about the school and everything like that, but I don't think they really took a step to really look what this man has done for the people, for his family, for his friends, what he came up, what he did for his friends that he brought along with him, who had no
Yeah,
experience in being an agent or any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
no doubt.
they don't understand what this man has brought to the table and bringing your people up with you, going back, reaching back. They don't take that into consideration whatsoever. They whatsoever. They look at what he's done on the court and they're like, oh yeah, because he's had all-star help. He's brought in this guy. He's brought in that guy. He's brought in this guy. He If he had the power to do it, he did it. You would do the same thing too. Don't act like if he wasn't in his shoes, you wouldn't be grabbing every Tom, Dick, and Harry that was your best friend that was nice and bald to come on your team. Stop
Right, but here,
fronting.
the other thing is look who he's won with. Look at the teams he was taking to championships. Look at these motley crews of teams. You know, he got a chip with Kyrie. Ain't nobody else got a chip with Kyrie.
And Kyrie's out there talking about I could do this I'm a man. I'm grown. I can do this myself.
This
We see
year
the result.
alone, this year alone separates when everyone wants to see the difference between LeBron and KD. You've seen it this year. This season tells you everything you needed to know.
Yeah, Kyrie. I
End of
mean,
story.
KD. If I hate saying it like this, but he makes it look like KD can't quote unquote lead a team,
He can't.
but be
He's
a
an
piece,
assassin.
but be
Yeah.
the second piece on the team, and he will murder you. With the
KD is
exception
an
of
assassin, man. Yeah,
his first time in OKC, the team he was drafted by. Well, he was drafted by the Seattle SuperSonics that moved to OKC, but with the other pieces around him, they was able to do the damn thing, and they blew their 3-1 lead. They almost did it. They almost did the job. You know what I'm saying? But that was younger KD. And then KD realized, like, nah, I need to play with players who can play the game and play their roles. And in my opinion, made the best business decision, one of the best business decisions we've ever seen in going with Golden State. People think that it was the easy route, 73-9.
it was. But I still don't blame him for it because it would have been a bigger travesty if KD left the game without a chip.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd have
Yeah,
been even bigger travesty.
yeah.
So I don't blame him for doing it. Was it the easy route? Hell yeah, it was the easiest route, dog. He went to a 73 win team. That's not debatable. Am I mad at him for making that big decision? No.
Nope.
I
Why
just
Why?
want
you
to know
mad?
how many people would have done the same thing in his shoes.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Who wouldn't do the same thing in his shoes,
Yeah.
bro?
That was
So
playing with smart money. That wasn't stupid money. But before I go, I'm gonna go next. And before I
go
go,
ahead.
Ed said the Braun hate has made so much money for pundits like Skip Bayless and whack
Exactly.
websites dedicated to hating him. They should give part of their check to him. Hey, he got enough money though. It's a moneymaker to hate LeBron. He is walking clickbait for do nothing untalented, embrace debate assholes and those imitating what they see on TV. Ed, are you saying we're doing what we see on TV? But also, too, stay tuned because my list gets very interesting. Like
Okay.
right about now. Next up, a lot of my list, well, a quarter or a third of my list is professional wrestling related. But on the number 5, this should be obvious for most. Y'all gonna enjoy the pictures that I picked too, by the way.
That
Vincent
shit is
Kennedy
hilarious.
McMahon.
That is hilarious, bro.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon is quite possibly the biggest supervillain in any walk of life, period. But in professional wrestling world, the giant that is Vincent McMahon and the WWF to WWE, this man's legacy in professional wrestling is solid, it's solidified, it's undeniable. But then when you look at the way that this company has been for the past few years, this company made me fall out of professional wrestling because of the characters he was choosing to book and push in the mid 2000s. I thought the WWE sucked at that time because in some respects they was the only thing going on the block in a major sense of things. You know,
Mhm.
TNA, they were there, but the product just I didn't like the product, the quality of the product's look, but they produce a lot of great wrestlers out of it. But yeah, I mean, there's no one person I think in professional wrestling more hated than him. Not
Is it
Hogan.
because Dan? Is it because he controlled the narrative for all those years?
Control Your Narrative, which is a company now that I never wanted to talk about. They're about to be on the most hated list, but I'll tell you about them because I don't want to give them any more airtime on this podcast. But yes, he controlled the narrative of professional wrestling in America for, you could damn near say, the last 50 years.
Yeah, man.
50,
Between him
50
and his
plus
pops.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
between him
what
and his pops. Yeah.
Yeah, from what, and well, if we include his father, it's even longer than 50 years. But even his father didn't control much of narrative. He just didn't play the NWA's game. Well, no, this Vince didn't play the NWA's game that his father did. His father played the territory game with everybody.
Yeah, he
From
said fuck the regions. Yeah,
he said fuck
Vince.
he said fuck
Yeah.
the territories. But you know what? How about this? How about give me that? I'm gonna throw this at you. Give me that. And bought up all the territories.
Mhm.
Then WCW comes around. WCW wins for 83 weeks on the Monday Night Wars. Then it becomes they get turned into a poorly run shit show because they weren't being run by wrestling people. They were being run more by suits in the offices. You know what? Ted Turner, let me buy that from you. Paul Heyman, I've been helping you out with money for years. You know what? Come up off of that. And he was buying up everything, consolidating everything into one big WWE universe.
That check is nice, Dan. That
Oh,
check is nice.
the paychecks are nice because he got what I think a $2 to $5 billion deal
Yeah.
with Peacock over the next 5 years to give them the content of the network on there, which still isn't even fully up there. The way the WWE network is before this Peacock deal was much better because there was way more content that
I
is
was
now
about to say
left
the
out.
WWE network was classic for that shit though.
Mhm.
Like
It was
they
great.
put yeah.
It was great, but they went over the Peacock, which it works out because you actually pay less with Peacock and get more. Like actually no, it's about the same price, but you get more because you get all the content on Peacock, plus you get the WWE shit with the pay-per-views, all for about $10 a month or even less. You know what I'm saying? But just in professional wrestling, this man here has been the biggest supervillain the world has ever seen. But Jamal, you're number 5. You're gonna like this picture.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
My number 5 is T.O. Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens. You know, and for me, that was the he was a hero right there, not a villain. That's a hero right there, bro. That
Yes.
is that is a hero right there. Salute that
Dan
man.
also
God damn
kept
it.
him in the Eagles jersey, of course.
Yes, sir. We're gonna get to that.
Well, I picked, yeah, well, side note, I was originally going to pick the 49ers one because it was on
Right,
the big star. But I just
Right.
said,
right.
you know what? Let me throw the jab at y'all because he did this with the Eagles.
That's okay.
I
That's
see the I
okay.
see the subliminals. I see the
Yeah,
subliminals.
but I say Terrell Owens because when you look up the poster child for a disgruntled diva wide receiver, people think Terrell Owens. He
Yes.
is the standard by which all wide receivers now, if you are good, you get judged by this dude. Um, and the hate that came from him, and he embraced it. He's a big baby, you know. His game on the field was ridiculous. He's quite possibly has an argument to be the greatest I've seen between him, Rice, and Moss. I would take him over Moss at his peak.
I have him at number 2. I'm
Yeah,
glad you said that. I
yeah,
have
I
Wow.
him
would
at
take
number
him over
2.
Moss at his peak. And even from his mouth, the only person he thought was better than him was Jerry Rice. But
And it's only because he could do more. He did more than Moss.
yeah,
He did
he
more.
was more dangerous, man.
He's
There wasn't
but
a
he's a
catch he
very
couldn't make.
physical wide receiver too. The dude is
Yes.
strong. Like you can't knock his strength, bro. He's
Ask
a
Hugh
strong ass
Douglas.
dude.
What'd you call it? But there's not a catch he couldn't make, man. There's not a catch he couldn't make, and the fact
Except the
that
one
they
against the
don't,
Packers.
well, we'll talk about that after.
That's my
The-
quarterback.
The fact that it is just they don't talk about how this dude played in that Super Bowl, how fast he came back from a broken leg and played on that shit. That's insane.
123 yards and a touchdown, but I
That is
digress.
insane. What this dude? When he was at his peak, he was fucking uncoverable. Even if he was covered, he was open.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But then there's the other side. The shit with get your popcorn ready. The stuff with all the shit with Jeff Garcia in San Francisco. The shit with Donovan. And as we know in the long run, and I fucking hate the Eagles. Was always a McNabb fan though. I always supported him outside of the games between the Eagles and Giants. You know, and I thought he got it better. I thought that did suck that they booed him on the day he got drafted. In hindsight, yeah, we now see Donovan was a little bit of an asshole too. You know, and he did contribute to that, but I thought that it was a little weak that he was mad that Donovan said they're gonna win with or without him. So, I mean, what's he supposed to say, bro? I don't think we can win if T.O.'s not here, and that kicked off that little the little feud they had. But Terrell Owen, he indulged in it. He loved that limelight. He played into it. He embraced being the villain, and he was good at it.
Son, your man threw a press conference doing push-ups with his agent.
Sit-ups in his
You know what I'm
driveway.
saying? In his driveway.
In his
driveway. With one of the most notorious agents of all time, bro.
Rosenhouse.
Crazy.
Show me the money.
So, but he gets under people's skin. I always enjoyed him. I always enjoyed his antics. I thought it was fucking hilarious, actually. And he backed up what he said he was gonna do. But I did enjoy beating him when we ran through the Cowboys in that playoff game when he was on there. That was cool.
Yes.
But,
yes.
He's my number 5 villain because I would say when anybody brings up Terrell Owens, it's 90% to 10% of whether he's viewed favorably or negatively. 90% negatively.
Right.
Can't knock the man's accolades, though. Can't knock his accolades.
And I believe, if I seen correctly, I think he's playing in that new
he is
fan play call. Like, there's a new indoor league where the fans call the plays. And they gotta run it.
He's better than receivers that's in the main league now. He's probably better than. So he's a freak athlete, man.
He is.
He's a freak athlete, but at his peak, man, the dude was a monster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, TJ, number 4.
My number 4, the man everybody loves to hate outside of the upper north. I mean, I guess you can go from Connecticut on up. Yeah, I can say that. From Connecticut on up, they love this man. He's a god. He's a god. And now, wait a minute. I take that back. Now people in South Florida love this man too. Thomas Edward Brady. And I'm just happy because my Giants smacked that ass twice when the money was on the table on the greatest stage of all. Yes.
We're 1 for 1 on them.
Yes.
It ain't 2-0 though, bro.
we still did.
I just had to put that out there.
We still did what 7 other teams couldn't do.
Lost to Eli Manning twice. That still hurts. He even admits that it hurts. He's very upset that he lost to Eli Manning twice in both of those Super Bowls that he thought he should have won. But his offensive line couldn't stack up against our defensive line neither time.
And this picture here started off the
Oh my God. Raiders fans hate this man.
The fucking fumble.
Ooh. I think if Raiders fans ever caught this dude at a bus stop, he'd get mollywopped to this day.
I doubt that because he's also a Cali boy, and Cali folks kind of, I guess Cali folks rep their state over. But then it gets the turf wars. what part of Cali is Tom Brady from again? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
The hate for this man. I know in Atlanta they don't like him. He can't go to Atlanta and buy a house. I'm sure of that.
That was on Atlanta though. That Atlanta gave him that game. They gave
Yeah,
him that chip.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, this man's accolades are above and beyond. But the hate for this man, he's a true villain because he will talk shit to the other team and put it in your face after he whips your ass behind it too.
Sure.
So
But only on the field, not off
right,
the field.
no, not off the field.
Off
Not
the
no,
field,
no,
off the
definitely.
field, he acts like none of this shit ever happened. But on the field, it's funny watching his fits because it looks like Karen like rage. Like, I got these calls for 20 years. Don't you remember this tuck rule? You're supposed to give me that. Like, that's the rage that he delivers. That's the rage that he delivers.
You ever seen him on the sidelines when he's losing? He's getting in his people's ass hard. Pause.
But yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but
But
Ed said real quick. He said the bigger the legend of Tom Brady grows, beating perfection, the more impressive what Eli Manning did. I feel like
100%, and that's my
yep.
argument.
he said I feel
100%.
like Eli Manning is hated because he beat perfection. Nah, Eli Manning was mid at best. But I believe this is Chris. He said Eagles lost to Brady before they got lucky years later, so they're actually 1-1 versus the GOAT. I said that. Suppose a real Eagles fan would know that though. Mind the Truth Sunday. So that wasn't Chris. That was that Chris? No, it's in another feed. I'm sure that was Will. But I mentioned that. I said we're 1-1. I said we're 1-1. I didn't say we were defeated. We were undefeated. Like they can claim. They can claim that they were undefeated against Brady in Super Bowls, not regular season, because I'm regular season.
We beat him a couple of times, but not as much as he beat us.
No,
yes.
I say you need to go rewind the tapes, good brother or sister, whoever Facebook user you are. I need you need to go rewind the tapes and go look up. And I said we were 1-1, and you said one of y'all said it. Yeah, but y'all are 1-1.
Yeah, you did say that.
I'm not against. I just know that he has a blemish on his resume because of us too. So fuck that, y'all. Well, hell yeah, Tom. This right here is why Tom Brady to me is one of the most hated and earned the right to be, in my opinion, because the motherfucker got over, and then too because I was such a Drew Bledsoe fan that ushered in Drew Bledsoe to never come back again in the starting role. But he got Drew Bledsoe a Super Bowl ring. So thank you, Thomas.
Yeah.
But
Brady, yeah, to me,
go ahead,
Brady's he's another. I kind of put him in the LeBron category where I don't understand the hate. He was the excellence of execution is what he did. You know, you want to hate on Belichick for putting all that shit together, but Brady went out there and he did his job.
That's
and
it.
I don't see him as a villain.
He proved that he wasn't a product of the system by winning in Tampa.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they could have very well won last year if they didn't have them injuries.
He's
if
also
the offensive line wasn't jacked up.
Right.
But
right,
anyway,
he's coming back. So
yeah, so
another L. and then maybe he'll retire.
And he came back from a serious knee injury a few years back. People forget about that too.
That he did. Son of a bitch.
He came back from a very serious knee injury and came back and proved that he was still the man. The dude's got what, 6 rings?
7.
No, he's
7?
No joke,
7? He's deep into the other hand now. Like, that's ridiculous. No, who's gonna win 7 Super Bowls?
Nobody.
The only one who had a chance was Mahomes, and Mahomes is behind now. Forget it. It's too late. You ain't getting them 7 now.
You know how hard that is to do in the NFL?
People forgot that he had to catch Charles Haley first.
That's right.
But nobody
right.
thinks about any other position other than quarterback, and that's my problem with a lot of people who talk, which we're gonna get to in my list. We're
Mhm.
gonna talk about that in my list because on my list, my number 4 has no picture. Ed, you're gonna get this one totally. It is you, the entire internet wrestling community. And I'm a part of the internet wrestling community in a way, but the internet wrestling community is one of the most toxic places next to Twitter, next to DC fans, next to Marvel fans, next to, and I'm talking DC and Marvel fans who only know the fucking movies.
Ooh,
That's
ooh.
they are more toxic than Star Wars fans,
Are they
which I'm
fickle?
a Star Wars beyond fickle, TJ. Wrestler A goes to new company, got to get their feet wet. How come they're not pushing him already? Do you know who this guy is? Do you know who this guy was? Oh, I forgot. It's also just as toxic as Twitter, but I think I might have repeated myself in that one. But the internet wrestling community is one of the most toxic places in this entire universe, created by musty, dusty, rusty kids who don't take baths, don't take showers, don't put on deodorant, and go into wrestling shows, who know how to book a territory but never booked a flight to a show or a ticket to a show. These guys know how these moves are supposed to look and do, but never performed one in the ring. Not to mention the hate that they put on these women while never even touching a woman. But I digress. The
That's
internet wrestling,
incels.
the internet, and this is a lot of the asshole internet wrestling community. Is where it's at. It's yeah, a lot of them could be deemed incels. A lot of people who have wives, family, kids, things like that, are just of the marks who can't branch out of anything outside of WWE. And that's what we're getting a lot of now, like all over TikTok, which I love TikTok, but all over TikTok, it's a lot of like late 20 to 30 something year olds that nothing is better than the WWE, and they love to shit on any and everything that isn't WWE. But then, which it's a conversation of proximity and what you grew up on. I grew up on WWF television, but also, damn, I wanted to reach out and learn more. Then ECW started coming on TV late nights. Then there was the rare opportunities in this part of New York to catch WCW television on television. You know what I'm saying? Then, if you were even old enough to remember when the AWA was on ESPN,
Yep.
we took it how we could get it and loved it for what it was. There wasn't this brand allegiance, brand loyalty thing, which ruins a lot of it too. Now, I am a person who is more partial to AEW now because they've given me a feeling more of what I loved back in the early 2000s and the late 90s and stuff. Yes, that doesn't mean fuck WWE. That doesn't mean I hate the WWE. Am I a fan who wants the WWE to get better? Absolutely. But I still love the game as a whole. And that's the problem within the internet wrestling community. It's a lot of the people who make this up now are super WWE marks who it's WWE and fuck everybody else. Oh, AEW's taking all these WWE guys. Well, these WWE guys are all people who were from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Were from somewhere else. If they weren't somebody that was developed under the WWE umbrella, you came from somewhere else. Play the
Well,
same.
you know how toxic you got to be if you're more toxic than DC, Marvel, and Star Wars fans. Whew.
Ooh, that's a violent
Lord have
community
mercy.
right there. That's a
It
violent
is.
community right
Man.
there.
Even Trekkies aren't this bad.
No. They're
And
light compared to
Trekkies can
everybody
be a
else.
stuck. Trekkies can be a stuck-up community if you
They're a
don't know
snobby
some
ass community.
Klingon.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
but it ain't hateful because they'll welcome you in at least. It ain't that hateful. You know what I'm saying? The wrestling community, there's people out there that are willing to welcome you in. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of us that are podcasters in it. Shout out to my Wrestling is Trash brothers and all of that. Shout out to RBR Weekly Wrestling. You know, I'll shout them out because my homie B Rob is on that show. But you can't hate everything. But also, too, shout outs to my brothers at the No Spots podcast, our brothers Dan and Champ. You can't sit back and love everything either. And they know what I'm talking about when I throw that jab. You can't sit back and love everything either. There is some bad shit out there, but it can't be. It can't be company A is all rainbows and unicorn shit roses and rainbows. Nah, it's not always that. It's not always that. The WWE has given us a lot of shit product recently that it's okay to be critical on because you just want the product to be better. AEW botch filled sometimes, yes, but just want the product to get better. That's really all that I could add on to that. And like Ed, I'm gonna run through Ed's comments because he got this immediately. The internet wrestling community is the most toxic fan base on the planet. They ruin the fun of wrestling.
Yeah.
Everyone swears they know how to book a show, and their booking sucks. This is facts. Chris Jericho once said the worst fans who think they know it all are Kiss fans, Star Wars fans, and wrestling fans. Chris been in the business for over 30 plus years. The
Mhm.
seagull knows. Uh, he said, I always say I'm not a WWE fan. I'm not an AEW fan. I'm not a New Japan fan. I'm a wrestling fan. I feel you, Ed. And look what's underneath New Japan Pro Wrestling. Uh, he said, Trekkies are snobs even amongst themselves, but they still cool as long as you appreciate that brand. Yep. And Chris said, oh, Jamal said facts. I forgot you'd be in the comments coasting through. But that was my number. Shit, we're only on number 4.
Yeah.
Shit, Jamal, it's on you.
My number 4 is big old waterhead Barry Bonds.
The GOAT. You want to talk about GOATs? The greatest
Bro,
of all time.
the greatest of all time, but embraced that role. And to this day, he did let some of the cat out the bag, but he knew the whole league was juicing. He took all that heat for a minute and kept his mouth shut until it came down to crunch time. He could have dimed all the motherfuckers out. While everybody else was getting accolades and shaking their hands and winning titles and stuff. And the entire sports media was focused on him as he's the only cheater around. And Barry Bonds handled that shit. But he went into them press conferences, man, not looking to do himself any favors, man.
And he handled it well because he never tested positive in the season.
That part right there. That part right there. There you go. So, but another person, as soon as you bring up his name in the sports community, specifically amongst the sports writers community, there's nothing positive they'll say about him. Even if you want to assume when he started juicing, his career up to that point should land him in the hall already.
Indeed.
Actual factuals.
And on top of it, now that we know that the entire league's been juicing, fuck it, just put them all in the hall. Whatever, you should have got better juice. End of story.
But they act like people who cheated the game are not in the Hall of Fame.
Factory.
Yeah.
They act like these people who were scum and villains way before Barry Bonds was even born are not in the Hall of Fame. That's the hypocrisy of it all.
TJ, they used the steroid of their day, whether it was beer, alcohol, smoking in the dugouts,
Come on, man.
hot dogs in the middle of fucking games. They
blatant racist.
We just talked about this, TJ, when we talked about the Hall of Fame induction of one person this year, a person who was named specifically in the Mitchell report. Their holy grail of quote unquote cheating. Barry Bonds wasn't in that. They tried to get him.
Bro, it's a cheating sport. It's been a sport that's been cheating. Whether you like you said, TJ,
It's
whether you
hypocrisy, bro.
using some type of grease, whether you're using amphetamines, whether you're using cameras from your own network, yes, to steal sides. And bro, I'm a Yankee
Scuffing
fan.
balls, spitting
I'm
on
a Yankee fan
balls,
through and through.
all
But yes,
that.
We
it's
are
cheating.
we are Yankee fans.
Yeah. So, but yes, it's cheating. And you know how you know it's a cheating sport? When Andy Pettit, one of the nicest people you ever meet around, gets busted for cheating. You know your sport, the culture in your sport is about cheating. And that's at the end of the day.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, baby.
That's it.
You ain't winning if you ain't trying either, right?
You know. But Bonds would go into those press conferences, especially when he was in fucking mode, and he was like, "You my enemy, you." You know, enjoy getting booed at parks. I used to, when they used to come down to play the Phillies in Philadelphia, I used to go to those games with the Giants games just to watch them boo him. And Bonds would he get a rise out of that shit.
He'd make him pay every time,
Yeah.
bro. He'd make him pay every time.
I was just happy I got to see him play in his last year.
That's what's up.
Yeah, well, as it said this photo y'all posted is type moist. Trust me, all I picked was funny ass pictures. I didn't pick nothing. He gotta have some flick. Of course, he had flicks in his uniform. But I was going for the laugh. I was going for the laugh. I was going for the silly shit. I was going for something different.
You looking like my man from the House Party movie and shit.
Like the seventh member of Full Force.
Yeah. I smell.
That look was a move in '91, man. He was on time.
I mean, shit, yo. I still call it to this day the Barry Bonds earring.
The Barry Bonds earring. You know what that is.
Yeah.
You said everybody know what that is.
Mm-hmm. TJ, we're finally up to number 3.
My number 3 is a true villain, inside and outside of the ring. And it all changed when he changed his name, Mr. Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, wait, damn it. I thought it was somebody else because y'all both picked Floyd.
We both have Floyd at 3, yeah.
Oh,
so Floyd was pretty boy Floyd Mayweather in the beginning of his career. Got no love, got no acknowledgement. As soon as he changed his name to Floyd Money Making Mayweather, whoo,
y'all hated the last picture.
That's just some foul shit, man. That is some foul shit.
Yo, he deserves it though. Because this dude outside the ring, his reputation is not good. He has several domestic violence charges handed against him, and he's been convicted of several of those charges. But you can't dispute what the man did in the ring. He fought who was in front of him early in his career and beat them. Not only beat them, but beat them in such a fashion that it wasn't even without question. Okay, his ring generalship and the way he changed and defined the sport was on par with none. And on top of that, when he got into promoting his fights and bringing up other fighters, you can't deny that the man knows how to make money on top of money on top of money. Period. As far as his character outside the ring, it ain't that great. But inside the ring, you can't deny what he did.
This is true. That don't mean we gotta like the shit. But why was he at your number 3 too, Jamal?
Because he's a self-confessed villain. He figured out he didn't like the way Bob Arum was moving him, trying to compare him to De La Hoya and tell him to be more like De La Hoya. And he figured out, he goes, if I'm the villain, if I'm Ric Flair, I'm gonna make more money. And he did it. And he embraced that shit. Starting with the dismantling of Arturo Gatti the way he did, and the whole build up to that fight. But Nah, he's the villain. He dwelled. He loved to have people hate him, and then he loved going into the ring and beating up your favorite fighter
Yeah.
and getting the money.
How many pay-per-views were bought? And I know I bought one or two, but how many pay-per-views were bought to watch him lose?
To watch
or
him
to win?
lose.
Watch him lose.
That's the
Yeah.
villain.
And he got all your money on top of that.
It's not even that. He would bet on himself. He would bet on himself on top of that shit. And then
The shit
You
Pete
know-
Rose went down for.
he would bet on himself on top of that. And then after he beat your favorite fighter and one got his money for betting on himself, he would get in your ass for telling you, I told you I was going to do this, and y'all keep doubting it.
His interview with Jim Gray was classic, bro. His interview with Jim Gray was
The Larry
was
Merchant meltdown in the ring. The 2 times he got into it with Kenny, what's the name from that jackass from ESPN? I should say
Kenny
yeah.
Mayne. Yeah.
So, but no, he's the ultimate villain. He figured it out, and he was better off for it financially.
Like Ed said,
Still making money off of it.
he said he understood that racism sells fights in both Conor McGregor fight and the De La Hoya fight. The De La Hoya fight was the one that I actually paid for back when I was living in the Bronx.
And he's right. He's good. And Ed, to just piggyback on what Ed said, Floyd realized that he was in the most tribal of all sports, which is boxing. Boxing is ridiculously tribal.
Yes.
And he played off that shit. I mean, this dude didn't even shy away from cultural appropriation. He wearing the Cinco de Mayo hat, the sombrero, and all that shit. Fighting Mexican fighters and then coming down in the ring in the sombrero, and then declaring Cinco de Mayo his day.
Yeah, he did that.
That takes balls, bro. That takes
that's a
balls,
villain.
bro.
That's a motherfucking villain.
Wrestling is tribal. That's why I just explained when I said the internet wrestling community
True.
is a piece
Yes.
of shit.
And Vince exploited the fuck out of that shit.
Yes, indeed.
That's how you get, Bad News Brown and Harlem sewer rats.
We segueing that fucking what was it? Roddy Piper and the half black, half white, half black, half his skin fucking face job that he did when he had the run.
I
with
forgot
Bad News
about
Brown.
that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
You want to again, history years later. You want to know what made that even funnier to learn more about TJ? Is that Andre the Giant pulled one of the greatest ribs ever and changed the body paint that Piper was supposed to use to almost like black shoe polish. That was damn near impossible for Piper to get off.
I didn't know that.
So Piper on a flight back home, I forgot where I heard this story. Ed, if you are listening to this and you remember this, please pull it out for me. Pause. But Piper had to fly back home, still half black, half his skin.
That's some funny shit.
Wow.
So, we did racial angles, tribalism, of course. People hated me when I said fucking Shawn Michaels isn't my GOAT.
The resume.
Shawn Michaels overrated. You know what I'm saying? Or you get burned at the stake.
I'm with you on that though.
You get burned at the stake for some tough ass wrestling takes. For real.
You can't. But what you can't deny is Floyd Mayweather's record.
WWE, man.
All right, we can't. I'm sorry, TJ. I want to respond to just say, we can't. But I have to segue back to the legacy of WWE. The legacy of WWE, though, is a very funny balance because there were a lot of racial angles in its back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look into the history and really, really think of like the New Day is their greatest tag team ever, possibly their greatest faction ever. Yeah, they kind of did some funny shit in recent times. Bobby Lashley, short runs with the belt. Big E, they gave him his moment, fucked him. Kofi, pretty much Brock Lesnar beat up all the New Day, every black heavyweight champion they've ever had. yada yada. But at one time, their biggest act was The Rock, Black and Polynesian.
Yep.
Go back even as far as my nigga Hulk Hogan, and I just say nigger, not nigga. He ain't my nigga, but having him run with one of the first WrestleMania, you had freaking Mr. T as one of your
Yeah, but
highlighted top dogs. And
they whipped him in the ring though with a belt, man.
oh yeah, but I'm not saying that as a there's so many other little points that we can look at though. But the one
Yeah.
that I like to point people on that I educated some of my friends on that I got educated to and I had to share the knowledge of. You can look at this in both ways again. But Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Vincent, I think James McMahon is his father's name. Is his father's name, right? He had a driver, a black man who was his driver until he was gone. Took care of that man like none other. Made sure he was able to live a regular, normal human being life like none other. And then made sure his son kept that man on the books
That's dope.
until he passed. Now, yes, Howard Finkel was technically employee number one in Vincent Kennedy McMahon's WWF. He was a technical, but this man was still on the WWF books because his father asked to make sure this man remains taken care of
He's
until
part of
he
the
was.
family at that
So,
point, though.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? The
literally,
dude's family.
and he was one of the first black folks they inducted into their Hall of Fame
Oh
when they
wow.
opened their Hall of Fame.
I did not know that.
I
Wow,
would
that's
have to.
dope.
I gotta pull the guy's name back up. I'll share that with y'all in the Start Five group and in our inbox. But yeah, it's that weird balance of yeah, the WWFE was racist at many a times, but in some respects they did treat a lot of black athletes decently. In some respects, you know what I'm saying? But you have to go digging for them, or you had to have been a fan following along to understand them. But my number three, because y'all's out of the way, and as I said, here it is. Embrace debate television is one of the fucking biggest supervillain aspects, and I had to go with the whole embrace debate television in one lump because there's a lot of good in it. I enjoy it as a fan. I enjoy it. I do because I love to hear perspectives and topics talked out from just common folks. But the way it's been worked on television is your opinion doesn't count unless you made it on this television show or are former athlete.
Listen,
And
the
that's
way
what
Jalen Rose undressed Skip Bayless, bro.
well, that's legendary. Water Pistol Pete forever. Water Pistol Pete forever. But when even you think before then, um, somebody over, I was listening to a show and somebody mentioned it, and I was like, this is true. There was that show that had John Sally and them back in the day with Tom Arnold and all that. That was like one of the
Oh
first.
yeah.
That was
Mhm.
like one of the first embrace debate
Programs,
talk
yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
CNN had Crossfire.
well, that there you go, that
Yeah,
too.
that
And
and
so,
that kind of spiraled into everything.
yeah. And says, see, I don't think you guys embrace debate. You folks invite conversation. And that's a huge difference. Absolutely, Ed, and thank you for that. But the debate part is the and I like Stephen A. I have tons of thousands of tons of respect for Stephen A. Smith. But when you've elevated your points to where you're right and it doesn't matter what everybody else is wrong, that's where the problem lies in Embrace Debate Television. When you are a Skip Bayless and Tom Brady, and it's Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, and nobody else, it's fuck everything else. That's where Embrace Debate Television goes wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
You could go back to the interview segments with Jim Rome, which he wasn't debate, but the way he would disrespect actual athletes, Chris Everett, The Chris
Oh yeah,
Everett run, the Jim Everett.
Jim
It's
Everett,
shit.
yeah, Chrissy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, made for great, hilarious television, but it's shit like that, you know.
Max Kellerman had some wild takes too, though, bro. I mean,
Yeah, but at least sometimes Max occasionally fell on his sword.
Max is grounded though. You know, I mean, I know he had to carry that ESPN line, but for the majority of his career, he's been grounded in what he says.
right?
Right, and
And
allow him to talk boxing. Yeah,
You can't. Yeah, you can't.
you're
You
not
can't
fucking
argue
with
with
him.
that man. You
You're
can't.
not
You can't
fucking with
fuck
him
with.
on that. No
No,
matter how much Stephen A. thinks he knows about, he ain't fucking with Max on boxing.
no,
no.
no, I'll give you a great example. One of the best interviews I ever heard. And some people hate this dude, some people don't love him, but it was during the build up to the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, and Max Kellerman and Paulie Malignaggi had a debate, and one of the greatest pieces of boxing debating I've ever heard. And two great perspectives. They both had perspectives, but what they both agree on, and where a lot of embrace debate TV fails, in order to have a real debate, you have to have a baseline agreement on reality. That red is red, blue is blue, the sky is up, and water is wet. So, you know, you need to have those things in agreement before you can now exchange ideas and agree and disagree. And what modern debate, embrace debate TV doesn't have, it's just people yelling their point of view and that's it, and not listening to you, just waiting for a moment for them to reply to what you said.
Yeah, like worst, like some of the worst is to me, and people love, but almost all the shows on Fox Sports are fucking terrible. Are
Bro,
terrible.
we're not going to get into the Whitlock.
I
We're not going
don't.
to get into the
Yeah,
Whitlock
shitlock. You
situation.
mean shitlock?
Yeah, shitlock.
But I don't care how much y'all love Shannon Sharp. Undisputed sucks. That show sucks. And I was a Skip Bayless fan. I like Skip Bayless because you know what? Fuck it. He talked and stood on his convictions, no matter how much I thought his convictions were wrong. You know what I'm
Do
saying?
you
And
like
that
Colin? Do you like Colin?
Colin Cowherd, he's a give and take.
Mhm.
He's a give and take. He makes a lot of great, well thought out points at times, but he's another one who's also, if it ain't a Brady, if it ain't a Jordan, if it ain't the greatest of my era, I'm going to talk you down to why this isn't, no matter what the fuck it is. You know, Shannon Sharp is cool guy. He's Uncle Shay Shay. But that show sucks. I'm sorry. That show sucks. The rest of the other, speak for yourself, whatever. Yo, Marcellus Wiley went down a fucking hole, in
Oh
my
my
Yeah,
opinion.
man, that was
God!
disappointing, man.
Stop, bro.
Disappointing. Because I used to
He,
podcast Max and Marcellus on the daily. I thought their show was great, and then him and Fox Sports now. Yeah,
yeah,
He signed
and
the contract, bro. He signed the blood contract.
and 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 Emmanuel Acho went down that hole
yeah,
too. Like
man.
Yeah,
Like, come
man.
on, dog.
Emmanuel Acho went down that. So just the whole Fox Sports is the worst.
Trash, man. I do like Shannon Sharp
See,
though, and I generally download his clips, his monologues, and
Ed
then
said
I cut
Ed
it off with on skip.
Ed said Colin Cowherd said baseball was easy because Dominicans can play it. Fuck that racist guy. Hey, I feel you on that.
Yeah, that's some
I
foul
feel
shit.
you on that. And I'm foul for keeping Floyd's picture up there for so long because
Yo, I was dying looking at that
there was no pictures for Embrace Debate. So, but we're up to number 2.
Oh, my number 2 is the original goat of all goats. But
Allegedly.
but this man was revered during his time in the ring. And
Oh,
when he was out of the ring and out of boxing altogether, they praised this man. But while he was in the ring doing his thing and beating
yep.
the snot out of everybody, um, people literally hated this man. And that's Muhammad Ali, aka Cassius Clay,
Wow.
Cassius Clay.
Wow.
Sorry,
He said
sorry.
Cassius K.
That was a slip.
That's all right.
Um, um, what more needs to be said about this man? When he threw his gold medal in a river, whoo, Whew. You want to talk about a whole country turning against you? Well,
Just
not black folks, but Jesus.
for
And
what you just mentioned, TJ, when you want to turn the whole country against you. When
yeah,
the man changed his name and said, "I'm not going over there to fight your war."
right,
That's right.
right,
That's it.
right. That was late. That was hate on a level you've never seen before in terms of professional sports.
Just
Oh,
to put into context, and TJ, I agree with you. The impact of how villainous old boy was viewed in America. You got to think of the time period he was in, which is the '60s, right?
exactly.
He was young, handsome, and black and loud. He was the first.
Yes,
He was the first to trash talk the way modern athletes do now, right? On top of that, he joined the Nation of Islam, which was enemy number one to J. Edgar Hoover's
taboo.
FBI at that point, right?
Right,
Then he was whooping people's ass, and he threw his medals in the river. So that's 3 points, right? Then he was anti-Vietnam War in the time of war and the time of the draft. So that takes fucking cantaloupe-sized balls to do that and still stand strong and stand tall and
nobody would
wouldn't
do
let
that today.
no.
Nobody
And
would.
they
Nobody
took
would do
his
that today.
livelihood from him, and he still said, "Okay, I'm still
I
not gonna move from my point."
Let me digress on that.
Yeah,
People do that today. We've seen people in marches by way of Black Lives Matter and all these
Kaepernick
other
did that.
types of things. We people are doing what he did today. The difference is would today's people have done it in that era? That's the conversation behind the they wouldn't do that. People do. It's been since Trayvon's been killed,
Hmm.
and the marches with hoodies and stuff like that. And pretty much, yeah, we ain't going to fight. Shit, people did. Black folks was doing that in the Ukraine in a way. Talk about fight for you, fight for this country. This ain't my country. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are more vocal now, but it's thanks to a Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't know, Dan, if there's an athlete at the level he was at that time today that
No,
would do what he did.
well,
And
no.
the only thing that came close
And
was
to lose
Cap.
what he lost,
Yeah,
and to lose what
yeah.
he lost, like you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Cap tried.
Cap
Kaepernick
try.
tried.
Right.
But the level of society that we live in nowadays, where
Mhm.
there was a lot less then, there's way more opportunities now to, well, if
Still
I lost this
survive. Yeah.
opportunity here, fuck
Mhm.
it, I can move on and go elsewhere and do this elsewhere.
Right.
The other
To
thing is,
get cut off
okay,
in
go ahead.
that era, yeah, I'm sorry. To
Yeah,
get
no,
cut
you
off
good.
in that era is like that was being canceled back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was being canceled.
Hmm.
Nothing today is being canceled because you ain't stopping people's income nowadays.
And I'm not
We
sure
still
if
don't.
Cap was at the top of his sport the way Ali was.
And that he wasn't.
Yes.
We still
So
That
don't know what kind of check the NFL cut Cap though.
he was about to get benched. Let's keep it real.
We
the
do, but
team's trash. Yeah, at that point. Yeah,
yeah,
he was on. Yeah.
yeah. But the NFL cut him a check to keep quiet though, whatever that was.
And now talking about I'll come back as a backup now. You should have took the backup role then.
Yeah.
But this ain't about him. This is about the villainy of Ali. TJ, I'm sorry. We're
No,
sorry.
no, you're right. I mean, but like you said, it took like Jamal said, cantaloupe sized balls to do what he did during that time, in the height of that time, no less.
Hmm.
Civil rights movement, you know, everything that was going on, racism, and like you said, to throw your medals in a river, yo, that's that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Ain't
Yep.
nobody throwing no medals away like that.
Not at all.
That was a good pick, TJ.
Thank you.
Now Jamal.
My
Yeah,
number
I'll let you
two.
go. Yeah, because
Oh, okay.
y'all no, yeah, I'll let you go because y'all had two together, and then I went along with mine. So now you
No
can go,
doubt.
and
No
then I'm
doubt.
gonna go.
My number two are the bad boy Detroit Pistons, and brought in an era of basketball which people like to refer to as 90s basketball or football on the hardwood. Um, um, but mostly because they beat up a team that was kind of the America's team of basketball at the time. And what they did, the crowbarring they did to them Boston Celtics, and the type of basketball they introduced, and the don't give a fuck type of attitude. And it was dirty. It was dirty as fuck, a lot of the way they played. But they changed the game of basketball for a decade and a half with that team. And with a murderous row of goons, of just goon basketball. They knew
That led to the '90s Knicks. That right there.
That's it, 100%. We out pistoned the Pistons. I mean, they got the rings
for
for
the
it.
'90s Knicks was right
Yeah.
there, bro.
Yeah.
which they also ushered in them '90s Bulls. Which let's
Mhm.
remember, y'all. I'll just keep it open because I'm gonna get into it in a second. Is
Yeah.
who my number two is?
Yeah.
They stopped that man at first. They was one of the few who stopped that man early.
Yes.
Beat the brakes off of them.
Yeah. He was mugged on a nightly basis during that series. But the man you're not talking about is the one that's pointing the finger at everybody, Mr. Bill Lambier.
Yeah.
Yeah, he almost was on my list. I almost had him individually on my
Yeah.
list, but I like that Jamal picked them as a whole because you could say he was the spark plug, he was the engine.
Definitely the catalyst.
Yeah, he was the catalyst, using all the embrace debate television terms for the villain. Yeah, that white man let y'all know, fuck what you heard. Like,
Yo, they didn't care. I mean, Bill Laimbeer was the fall guy, but they all did it. The thing with Bill Laimbeer, why he singled him out, because he didn't care if he lost the fight or he got his ass whooped. He was still going to do dirty shit to you. That's all it was. He took the heat. Half the dudes that went to fight Laimbeer whooped his ass.
he was
You know what I mean?
he was the honey badger before we learned honey badgers don't give a fuck.
That's it. But what
Yeah,
they
and his
did to
man
Larry
beneath
Bird
him,
and them,
Mahorn was no saint either. So
no man, they just rough. You know, throwing Rodman. They had James Edwards. They had Mahorn and Sal. They could just throw
sharp
bodies
elbows,
at you.
bro.
Just
Sharp
throw
elbows,
bodies
bro.
at you, man. Yeah.
Yo,
And
and on some gang shit, right? Like they treated I mean Isaiah had his moments,
mhm.
but they treated Isaiah like, yo, he's the one that's getting us out the hood.
That's it.
He's
Yeah,
getting out the
you're
hood.
right.
You can't touch him. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
you're absolutely right.
Calvin
He
got
was
a
the general.
job.
That's it. But I lost connection for a little bit. But to go back to your point, is those guys created what most people refer to as the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yes.
squad is what made him take it up another level.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
I'm going to leave it at that. Without them, it may be the league history would be a little different.
Yeah, which is my number two in his it is no more drama. Ain't gonna be no
High-waisted
hateration or
boat
holleration
pants.
in this dancery outfit.
This dude leaves the house with like 40 square feet of fabric on every day.
How you a damn near billionaire leaving a crib like that, bro? Who's your
Come on.
stylist?
All that drapery, bro.
That shit don't matter. That's the outfit of money, and I bet you each piece on him is at least 1,000 or better, probably.
This is
Well,
a man who never looked in the mirror when he left the house, bro.
Nah.
I said I should have found a picture of him in the brunch boots courtside. Remember? But nah, man. All the hate aside, obvious reasons. There's no need for long talking about why he is one of the top supervillains. As Knick fans, all I gotta say is we're Knick fans.
I loathe that dude, bro.
That explains it all. You know what I'm saying? And
He's the reason why I never bought a pair of Jordans, Dan.
in
Same here.
life,
Same here. Never owned one, bro. Never will.
Never
have,
owned
never
a pair
will.
of Jordans in my life, bro,
Never-
and will
never-
not buy a pair ever.
Never- I never met other people that was in that same wavelength
Nope.
as me. Wow. I never see, but I will tell you this. Only because I worked in the sneaker stores, I was trying to understand the fucking hype. And I was in the sneaker stores before the retros was coming back, and they were still up to well, actually no, retros was starting, but they were only retro in like the favorites, like the 11s and shit like that. I put my foot in one foot in two pairs. I think one was the 12 with the one that where he had like that the one side patch that came up, the one
Hmm.
little color patch there.
Mm-hmm.
I put my foot in 11, and I put my foot in the one that came in the briefcase. The first one that came in the briefcase.
You lost me right there.
I only put I only put my left foot,
Mhm.
and that was it. Cause I wanted to feel what the hype was about.
You
And
did more than I did.
them
That's for
shits
sure.
them shits to me felt as hard as Timberlands. I didn't like them, but they look stupid on my foot. They look stupid on my foot. But no need to go down the rabbit hole of hate and why, because like I said,
Mhm.
we're Knicks fans. I don't hate Michael Jordan as much as people think I do. I just will never call him my GOAT.
No.
I will never say he is the greatest basketball player of all time,
Mhm.
because this debate here, forget LeBron James. This debate of Michael Jordan here sparked the goalpost movement. This guy sparked all the goalpost movements there is in any sports discussion debate worldwide, no matter who you're having a conversation with, because it used to always be, nobody's gonna get 6 chips. Nobody got 6 chips. Well, Bill
Bill
Russell got
Russell,
11.
11.
Some of his teammates got 9.
Mhm.
Big Shot Bob got 7. Yeah, but all your mama's butts, the big old
Mhm.
butts, all these butts would
Mhm.
move shit around.
Refresh
Just
my
some
memory again. How many chips did he get without Mr. Sweet Potato Head 33?
you know, but LeBron James can't go and form a team with his friends, which if you realize again when you go back to those Miami Heat teams, I hated on them because it was fucking Miami. But I was happy for LeBron James. You were A1 dominant guy. D Wade had to play a role. Chris Bosh had to fall back and play a role. Guess what happened? That was all based off of kind of those 90s Bulls teams where
Mhm.
Michael Jordan was the A1 number one guy. Then role players came through. Then the other
Steve
role
Kerr.
players, you know,
Yo,
how many games wouldn't have been won, or series wouldn't have been won if it wasn't for Steve Kerr, if it wasn't for John Paxson, if it wasn't for BJ Armstrong, if it wasn't for him going to recruit Dennis freaking Rodman to come to your Chicago Bulls.
Hall of
Oh,
Famous.
but that don't happen. That didn't happen in his era.
Mhm.
That didn't happen at all. So maybe this is more the Michael Jordan fans than Michael Jordan himself. Because Michael Jordan himself gives it up. He gives it up to the freaking younger cats. He even said, I believe he's even said, yo, I can't like I can't be number one forever.
Mhm.
facts.
So, but we're Nick fans. So all we're doing is hating. And we're gonna go from this guy, from the one that a lot of people hate, to our unanimous number one. Y'all gonna enjoy this picture. This man had a movie.
That's him. Oh Lord.
He had a movie called "I Hate Christian Laettner."
Oh yeah.
E-
Oh yeah.
ESPN 30 for 30, which actually makes you feel a little bad for him, but then it's like, nah, fuck that. You was a Duke Blue Devil. He is the reason why I hate the Duke Blue Devils. And I was a big Grant Hill fan, but
Mhm.
he is why I hated the Duke Blue Devils. And maybe y'all can help me out, because over the years, and I didn't rewatch the movie to get ready for this, which I'm gonna watch it again. But remind me of why we hated him so much.
He was just dirty. He was a dirty player.
Mm,
I mean, there was nothing he did, within the context of the game that you was like, oh, Christian Laettner is nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, he deserves this or he deserves that. Nothing. Nothing. He was a glorified role player who got too much spotlight, in my opinion.
I
Kerr
think
said he stepped on someone's chest.
she stomped on the dude's chest. Yeah, he did. I think half his hate is because he played for Duke and how Duke was winning back then and their brand of basketball. But on top of it, he was the face of Duke and he was a dick on top of that. So, you know, I think, and the press doesn't help either because they held him up as the gold standard and the golden boy of college basketball, and it was everywhere. When Duke started winning, that was just it. Duke Duke's press level was just like you know beyond what it should have been, and they just put his for Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, Mike Krzyzewski, Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, Mike Krzyzewski, and it's like everybody else was just peons, or the way they spoke about everybody else was less than stellar light.
Yeah.
But you know, unfortunately, if he was Christian Laettner and that good on another squad, I don't think he would have as much hate.
Yeah. Plus, also too, the hate evolved because he made the dream team when many people didn't
Yes,
just think he deserved it.
That
yeah.
part as
And
well.
and I believe who there was somebody who got snubbed off the dream
Shaq,
team
wasn't it?
because of him. That was a college player.
Wasn't it
No,
Shaq?
it might have been
Yeah,
No, Shaq wasn't around then. You talking early
92.
90s.
Yeah, that was
yeah. There's Shaq at
Christian
LSU.
Laettner. Christian Laettner was on the dream team as the
Yeah, as a
college
college
guy.
player. Yeah, yeah.
Shaq
Hmm.
was in LSU at that time. No,
Yeah,
Okay.
Shaq was a
No,
part of the first Dream Team. No, wasn't he?
no,
No, he wasn't because
no,
Patrick. We
no.
had Patrick Ewing and David Robinson as the centers. But sorry, but uh uh, I think Shaq did get snubbed probably because of that. But there were other players. Well, they also I think tried to blame Isaiah snubbing partially because of that, but
hmm,
also mainly
Larry
because of
Bird shut that shit down, bro. Larry
because of
Bird did
they
not
said
want
MJ
Isaiah
shut.
Thomas on that team, bro.
They said MJ shut that down though.
maybe both of them did.
But
did MJ kind of admit to that in the Last Dance?
yeah, that he shut that down. But yeah, no, but yeah, the hate spawned from there. The hate spawned from there from it was somebody of a college of who was a great college player who should have made it, and he did. But he did because it was like the other way around. Like he was
He was the
that
Golden Boy.
the extra token white piece that
He
had to
was the
be on that
second
team.
coming to Larry Bird at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Allegedly,
Right.
allegedly. But yeah, the Christian Laettner hate over the years. It's like I get it. It just feels automatic. It's the reason why I hate the Duke Blue Devils to this day. It just feels automatic. But I don't know now. I have to go back and watch the movie. Curtis said, "Who's the first pick?" Me word is Bond. I guess he said my word is Bond, not Christian Leitner, not Alonzo Mourning. Uh oh, my
So
bad.
Shaq, yeah,
That was a Shaq ball. Dickhead
Shaq
me.
says, uh, he said I was pissed off and jealous that I was left off the Dream Team.
Yeah, yeah. So it was Shaq. It was Shaq.
But he said that it was Magic and Michael Jordan that picked Leitner for the Dream Team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hold on, let me
Jabs
see if
was
I can.
thrown. Darts were being thrown that day.
Well, those two names have made plenty of mistakes in life, so you know. But they are winning.
Yes.
But anyway, enough of that.
Yes, sir.
Some of the honorable mentions before we get out of here. Keeping it on Duke Blue Devils, I had to add Grayson Allen for obvious reasons.
Mhm.
Ooh.
His His foot loved him a set of nuts in college basketball. I ain't gonna lie. I picked Tom Brady. Y'all picked him as one of the tops. I picked him for obvious reasons. The Dallas Cowboy organization and its
Mhm.
fan base. Reggie Miller, because we're Knicks fans. And last but not least, Sean Avery, fuck you in your whole life because I had a personal interaction with you. That I was going to show that video on here, but I just said, fuck it. I'm not giving him, man, that time of day. All I know is that pussy, and I'm going to keep calling him that pussy. Yeah, he was in the NHL, spent some time in the NHL, has a rule named after him because of how much of an asshole he was. But that pussy got humbled real quickly by a real wise guy in the streets. And I'll tell y'all that story off air.
Mhm.
Honorable mention.
The Boston Celtics. Period. That's all I gotta say. The New England Patriots, the New York Yankees. There's a lot of hate there for the Empire. That was it. I mean, I don't think I had any other individuals. I did organizations at that point.
My honorable mention was Al Davis's Raiders from the 70s. Just because they were the anti-Steelers, and the way they went about playing football, people thought was dirty, and
Just
I'll
win,
just buck the
baby.
system. That's it. And the only person other than Sean Avery I had was Ulf Samuelson, hockey player who was dirty as fuck.
Ooh.
What he did to Cam Neely from the Bruins in '91 and intentionally took out his knees. That dude never recovered. But he would do dirty shit like that all the time. And then when somebody went to drop gloves in a fight, if you were true enforcer, you throw down, he would shy away. And so he got people's nerves from that shit.
That's a bitch shit.
And he made a whole career out of doing that shit, bro.
And people love to claim hockey players are tough guys.
I guess you need to Tanya Harding on there, right?
Yeah, that's a good call.
America's supervillain.
So,
but this was dope, though. I like the supervillain talk over the playoff talk today. It was a good one.
Yes, sir.
What
Real quick, rest in peace to Kay Slay.
Yes,
who recently passed.
Kay Slay.
Yes. The drama king, built a lot of careers, started a lot of careers for a lot of rap folks.
Hip hop certified legend, started out as a writer.
Yeah, I didn't know about his graffiti past, and I was like, wow, this dude has been in it from day one. Like, you can't deny what he's brought to the culture at all.
The drama king is in a different building now. We'll see you on the other side, good brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh, keep it going. Final shout outs.
All right. Shout out TJ, shout out Mayor, shout out everybody in the comments. Curtis, both Chris's, Ed, everybody chipped in today. Shout out K Slade, rest in power. And that's about it, brothers.
Yeah, shout out to another dope show. Shout out to you, gentlemen. Shout out to everybody in the comments. This was a great show. Finally finished a whole cigar during the show. That's an accomplishment.
Wow. Sometimes I do two. You just finished one.
So
this was longer. Yeah, this was longer than normal today.
Yeah, so I'm proud of that.
I'm enjoying y'all at some point.
This is another dope show. I love it. Can't wait to see what we got on deck for next week. As always, use the hit the barcode by Jamal's head over there on the right to follow us on all platforms.
Yep. The website's down for right now, but that'll be worked on if it even comes back, to be honest with you, because we'll discuss that off air. Me and transparency, y'all know. Shout outs to all the lawnmowers that was on the show today. The Hawks in the background, not in Atlanta. Shout out to Disabled Planet to keep it Ishtar people.